but not the details.
Good morning.
Oh, we started.
We've started.
Hi.
Good morning, and welcome to What Have I Just Read with Michael, with Malcolm.
And the jingle. Great.
And
Jeremiah 4:19.
Jeremiah, he was called the Weeping Prophet, and you can sort of see why he was known as the Weeping Prophet.
It's a lot of doom and gloom here, isn't there?
Oh my word, my anguish, I writhe in pain over the walls of my heart. I mean,
he's predicting the fall of Judah.
he's seeing the devastation
that's coming. So
so
Israel's in the north. They've already fallen to the Syrians, right? And then Judah's going to fall to the
Babylonians. That's right. That's right. Yep.
Finally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done. That's rather impressive.
It's great, and amazing. This whole bit. I looked on the earth. I looked at the mountains. It was almost like a sort of an anti Garden of Eden thing. It's almost like sort of
that's good.
Genesis.
That's very good. I like that. Yeah. There was no one at all. All the birds of the air had fled. The fruitful land was a desert.
Mountains, the earth, all the stuff that's been built up is vanishing.
The noise of horseman and archer, every town takes to flight. I mean, on a language basis, it's brilliant, you know. And then he sort of says, you know, though you desolate one, you know, and you've sort of got this picture of this person sort of almost grotesquely putting on over makeup or whatever.
Oh yes, the makeup thing was really,
you know, and you sort of
beautify yourself.
Yeah, and but to try and desperately seek the lovers.
Right.
But the lovers are actually out just to destroy her.
It's a sort of vain. It's a sort of vain appearances. It's trying to sort of dress yourself up.
It's a desperation.
Right.
It's desperation. You deck yourself. You know, in vain you beautify yourself. You know,
dress in crimson, ornaments of gold.
Yeah.
Enlarge your eyes with paint.
Yeah.
Vain you beautify yourself.
But actually, there's no. You know, it's almost as if, you know, the Babylonians have come. You're making yourself up to sort of, if you like, to appeal to them, but they've got no mercy. They're just going to go.
Your lovers despise you.
Yeah.
But see, because your lovers despise you, I thought it was a bit curious because it implies that before there was a before when they loved you.
There was a before, and that was the point. Was that he said that, you know, you could have turned to me, but instead you turned to Egypt, you turned to Babylon, you turned to these political world leaders to see if they would save you. And in fact, they're not.
Right.
They're going to abuse you and then despise you and then spit you out.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
Jeremiah, is Jeremiah considered one of the heavyweight prophets?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Jeremiah is
And Isaiah would be another one, right?
Isaiah. Well, we've got the major prophets and the minor prophets. The major prophets: Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah. And the only reason they're called major prophets is because they're very long.
Okay.
It's not that their message is more important than the others, but
we do quote Isaiah quite a lot.
Isaiah, Jesus quotes a lot.
Right.
Jesus uses a lot of Isaiah.
Right.
And then John
5, 1 to 18. This is an amazing story. There's all sorts of details. It's one of those stories you feel like you've read it 100 times, but actually when you read it, you go, hang on a minute, I missed all those details.
Yeah. It's one of the sort of seven miracles that John picks out to sort of illustrate what Jesus was all about.
But is this because always there's the famous story of Jesus healing on a Sabbath, which the rabbis don't take very kindly to. And this is it, is it? In John?
This is one of them. Yes.
Right.
This is where, this is one of them where they come up and they. Yes, it is. It's very interesting actually. I was struggling at the end of this bit as to. Therefore, the Jews started persecuting Jesus because he was doing such things on the Sabbath.
Right.
Jesus answered them, "My Father is still working, and I also am working." Because, of course, the Sabbath was the day of rest, and so Jesus is saying it's the Sabbath. My Father is working, even though
it's the Sabbath.
It's the Sabbath, which is the day that God rested.
Right.
I thought that was intriguing
as well.
So a double reason for the Jews to for the Jewish leaders to sort of say, this man is blaspheming.
Right.
He's declaring an intimacy with God which is far greater than human beings can.
Right. But it's interesting that, isn't it? Because there is that, it's just confusing, isn't it? My father is still working. And I just love that whole thing about the guy doesn't really know it was Jesus. And he's asked by the Jews who healed him. He's like, well, some bloke in the crowd.
Yes, exactly. That's wonderful, yeah.
It's just great. And it's wonderful. And
isn't it, that must have been, just Jesus was walking past and, and the man, and Jesus asks him, and, and the man has no idea, and he just says, well, I can't go into the pool because nobody will take me there. I'm
just stuck.
I'm just stuck, and Jesus says, get up, and the man gets up, carries his mat, and then, Later on, actually, we'll probably read this tomorrow, there's a longer conversation between the man and Jesus.
Oh, so they come back together?
Yes, yeah, so...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And also I think it's interesting because they have a conversation, don't they, a bit later. Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, see, you've been made well, do not sin anymore so that nothing worse happens to you. And then he goes off and tells the Jews that it was Jesus.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. I thought, it was one of those things, he goes and tells the Jews, is that just because he felt to spread the good word, or it was?
I don't know, actually. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
This guy's great. Look at him. Look what he can do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Great.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
And a great week.
Watch it. It's very slippy out there.
Yeah, it's wet. Water on ice is always treacherous.
Yeah. Lovely.
Great. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Exit.